Hey everybody, it's Jordan Newsom again from the WVHTA for our second episode of the West Virginia Hospitality and Travel Association Hospitality Highlights. Joined today by West Virginia food guy Stephen Keith from the Charleston Gazette Mail and from Miles Partnership. Also board member at the WVHTA. So good morning, and how's it going, Stephen?
Good morning, Jordan. Doing well. Hanging in there during these crazy times. But
Yeah, it certainly is a crazy time, especially for the tourism industry. One of the things we've been hearing a lot is the hospitality and travel industries have been hit first, and they were hit the worst. And one of the things I think you're, let's say, an expert on is our restaurants and food. You are dubbed the West Virginia food guy. Tell us a little bit how you became kind of a food critic, a restaurant critic, and got that nickname.
that is that's the question I get asked the second most, right after how do you eat so much food and not gain so much weight? But it's an interesting story. After I graduated from college, I just really developed this passion for cooking and good food. And so when I would go out to restaurants, I would try to order the most exotic thing on the menu and try things that I'd never had before. And but as a poor college student at the time, I couldn't go out to eat a lot. So I would have these amazing dishes, and then I would go to the store and buy the ingredients and try to recreate them myself at home. Sometimes that went very well. Sometimes it went terribly wrong. But that really helped me develop this passion for cooking and good food and dining out. So I was working at the newspaper full time back then, and they said they were looking for volunteers to write restaurant reviews. And I about tripped over myself raising my hand, and they said, no, you don't understand. It's a lot of work. Like, you have to go out to eat every week, and you have to try appetizers and entrees and desserts and, eat a lot of food, try a lot of different things. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I get what the job is. I'll do it. No. And then you've got to write about it and all of this stuff. And I'm like, I got you. Like, I can do this. I was made for this job. So I've been doing that almost, 25 years now. A weekly column for the newspaper, which used to be a lot about cooking and food in general. For the past several years, it's focused primarily on restaurant reviews and restaurant news around Charleston, Kanawha County, and throughout West Virginia, actually.
Yeah, every Wednesday you can check Stephen's articles out on wvfoodguy.com or in the Charleston Gazette Mail. But last week's article was really interesting and exciting because you hit on about a dozen new restaurants in the Kanawha Valley that have either opened or added a new location and during this pandemic, which is honestly kind of unheard of because a lot of people, are struggling due to, dining capacities, supplies, workers, etc. Why do you think that we're seeing an influx of new restaurants in the area?
I know it seems crazy, right? Like, operating a successful restaurant is hard enough in the best of times. It's a lot of work to keep the lights on and keep customers, in seats and be successful. So, in the midst of one of the most uncertain and scariest economic times that many of us will ever probably experience, why are these places opening or expanding? It seems counterintuitive, but my take on that is, when a new restaurant opens, typically it's a very stressful situation. You've got a lot of kinks to work out. You're trying to get your service down, so people are having a good experience. You might have some dishes that need fine-tuned, and so that process, of kind of working out those kinks can be very stressful if, you've been advertising this big grand opening, and all of a sudden the restaurant's full and you've got big crowds. And so I think this extended COVID period is kind of giving people an opportunity to have their soft openings. They can open with fewer customers, slower business, which actually gives them a chance to kind of ease into it and work out some of those kinks and fine tune the menu and fine tune service. Hopefully leading to brighter days when there are more crowds and busier days. But yeah, there have been just a dozen or more restaurants just in the Kanawha Valley over the past 2 months that have opened or added locations. So that's really encouraging to see because, you know, that industry has been hit so hard by COVID.
Yeah, I mean, encouraging you know, the right word right there. It's exciting, encouraging. You know, it's great to see a lot of our members, you know, tweaking their menus during the time. You know, they've transitioned to now more outdoor dining. They're getting creative, and I think one of the things I'd like to get your take on is, while you still have been doing indoor dining, outdoor dining, visiting all these new spots, what are some of the creative things that you've seen that restaurants are implementing, maybe some extra safety precautions that you have really been keen on while visiting some of these new restaurants?
Yeah, for sure. I'll tell you what, I have been extremely impressed with how seriously most restaurants are taking, you know, the precautions in terms of social distancing and, you know, extra cleaning and sanitation and safety practices. It's been very encouraging. You know, as a restaurant critic, I've been out as much as possible. You know, I went to being a takeout review critic for a while, but you know, when indoor dining opened, I was there. When outdoor dining opened, I was there, and I felt very safe, you know, in all of those instances, which has been nice. You know, some of the interesting things I've seen is, you know, in addition to spacing out tables and having different entrances and exits for customers, a couple of restaurants have gone so far as to have, you know, containers up at the register for clean pins and, you know, dirty pins. So you get your clean pin out in this container and you put it back in this one, and then they sanitize them and bring them back, which is interesting. I was at a restaurant once and they didn't even provide an ink pen. Like, I don't know what I would have done to pay for my meal had I not had one, but they were really, you know, being extra cautious about just handling back and forth. I was at a restaurant dining outside on a deck, and you cleared your own table when you were done. You know, food was served in disposable containers, and when you were finished, you cleared your table, you threw your stuff away, and they were even limiting, you know, contact with staff that way. So it's been really interesting to see. And like I said, folks are taking it very seriously, which I think is giving customers, you know, a higher comfort level of, you know, I can go out, I can wear my mask, I can enjoy a dinner, and have a good experience.
Yeah, I think one of the bright spots of, you know, of all this is not only to see a lot of our food service and restaurant members get creative with new menu items and revamping some of their things, but also getting creative with just keeping customers and their staff safe. And, you know, whether it's, you know, wearing masks 24/7, and doing spacing out, dividers, et cetera. You know, it's good to see that, you know, they have taken it upon themselves to do that. All right, bonus question. What is something, if you see on the menu at a restaurant, that you have to get? Like one thing that if you see it, you're getting it no matter what.
Oh, there are a couple. So if it's breakfast, it's biscuits and gravy. Like, I just cannot pass on biscuits and gravy. But if I'm out for a nice dinner and there are short ribs on the menu, like braised short ribs, I can't not order that. It's kind of a problem, but I don't know, so many good things to try.
Yeah, that's for sure. And you know, you have a kind of expanded role. Not only do you write about, you know, food and or restaurant critic for the paper, you work for Miles Partnership, which is a, you know, marketing, travel, tourism company. And you guys are involved with the WVHTA. You're a member. Why are you guys a member, and why would you encourage, you know, restaurants, hotels, and other tourism businesses in the state to become members of the association?
Sure, absolutely. So if you work in the hospitality industry, whether it be travel or restaurants or lodging, there's really no better resource and advocate to have in your corner than WVHTA. You know, not only do they provide an incredible amount of support and education for the industry, but it's really the advocacy efforts that stand out to me. You know, many of the state's small businesses, small restaurants, B&Bs can't really afford to hire a lobbyist or close up their shop, you know, to go down to the Capitol and meet with legislatures and fight for changes that need to be made for the hospitality industry to thrive. But through WVHTA, you have that voice. You have that person, you have that advocacy, someone who's looking out for you every day. And that benefit to me is priceless. I mean, if you enjoy a Bloody Mary with your Sunday brunch, you can thank WVHTA for that, because they fought and fought to make that happen. If you own a business now and you've been able to kind of do more because the ABCC restrictions have been relaxed a little bit over the past couple of years, and you have a little more freedom to do things like that, thank WVHTA for that. So it's just those advocacy efforts to me that that really stand out. They have our best interest in mind, and they have our back. So.
Yeah, and certainly we appreciate that. We appreciate your involvement and support over the years. And thanks for joining us for our second episode of Hospitality Highlights. Where can people find your restaurant reviews, critiques, and of course, pictures of some of the best dishes across West Virginia?
Well, you know what? During the start of COVID, when I didn't have you know, a lot of restaurant, I couldn't go out to eat a lot. I spent that time building a new website. So wvfoodguide.com is where you can find, you know, all of my latest adventures and photos, reviews, food news, and more.
Well, they can find you there, and they'll certainly be hungry after. So thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, Jordan. Thanks so much. Have a good day.
You too.